Hi everyone. Today we're going to just take a few minutes to download some of the free fabric swatches from Accuquilt, and this is if you own the software, the Accuquilt software EQ8. Now, if you have the software, make sure that it's closed for now, because anytime you're downloading something, you want to be sure that the program is closed. So you're going to click on whatever browser you use. I use Chrome to go onto the internet. And then up in the top where the website name goes, we're just going to type in Accuquilt.com and hit enter. And that should take us right into Accuquilt. If you're not, because some people use Google and then they go into Google and type it in and it's a couple more steps, that's fine. Just pause this video until you get to the Accuquilt website. And this front part may be different when you watch the video, but you want to make sure it says Accuquilt up here. And you're going to be looking for this freebies and lessons section. And we're going to click on this freebies and lessons, and I'm moving my cursor around only because see how it's blue over here, but it's not when it gets to this part. So this freebies and lessons, and then we're going to come down to the right side, and I'm going to put my cursor right out here on the left because we're looking for this EQ fabric of the month, and we're going to click on that. And today we're going to go ahead and download the 2021 months. And if you haven't done any of them, that's fine. We're going to start right from the beginning. So if we look, and you see my cursor on the left, we look, this is January 2021, and then above it is February, March, April, and May. So we're going to hit January 1st, and we're going to hit where a little, looks like a little keyboard is. And when you put your cursor over it, you don't have to click on it yet. You're going to pick whether you own a Windows PC computer or a Mac computer. So I have Windows, so I'm going to click on Windows. And my download folder is going to open up automatically. And if you don't have a folder for EQ, so let me just delete this one and I'll make one with you. So I'll do delete. Okay, so we're at our download folder, so we can see right here, this PC downloads. And make sure it says downloads up here. And what we want to do is get a new folder. Now, depending what version of PC or if you have a Mac, how you make a new folder. So if you're not sure, pause the video now and look around. Don't panic and look around for where you make a new folder. And we're going to click on new folder, and we're just going to call it EQ. You can say Accuquilt if you want EQ. And once you name it, you always want to hit enter. That lets the computer know you're done naming it. But we want to double click on this new folder so that it's up at the top. So we have downloads and then we have EQ. Now we know we're putting something inside of the EQ folder. So if we look down at the bottom, and it says Fabric of the Month, January. So we don't need to name it anything more than that. That's a fine name right there. So we're going to hit Save. Okay, and down at the bottom, right here, it'll show that it's downloading, and it would be running if it hadn't finished yet. So I'm going to clear that out for a minute just so you can see the next one I do. So now we'll just go up to February. Click on the February little keyboard, and again, I'm doing Windows, and it should take us right back in to that same folder. So just to confirm, we're still in the EQ folder. It's named it February 2021, and then we're going to hit Save. Now, if you look in your bottom left-hand corner, depending on which PC you have, it only stayed for a minute because it's a small file, but if you see a little circle going around, it just means it's not finished yet, and that's okay. You just don't want to try to open it before it's finished. So let's go ahead and do March. And again, there's our other two, so we know we're in the right place. And Save. And while that one's going, we can go right to April. And again, we're going to Save. And then we have May. Hitting the Windows one again. Okay, so I'm just going to confirm I've got January, February, March, April, and this one is May, and save. Okay, so that's all we have to do right now. Now, we can come back, or you can come back. You can save this page. Excuse me. You can save this page and leave it up, and then you can do another year if you want to. I'll do a few of the 2020. I think I'm missing a few, but let's do 2021 for now. So what we want to do is we want to go to our downloads folder. Now, sometimes you can do your files right from here at the bottom, but that's really not the best way to do it. So we're going to come down to our taskbar, to our folders, our documents folder, and click on that. And again, if it takes you a minute to get to your documents folder, just pause the video. Just, take a deep breath, because I know sometimes when you're watching a video, you're a little nervous to keep up, and you don't have to keep up. You can pause the video whenever you want. And I'm going to go down to my downloads folder. It's right here, so you're going to find your downloads folder. I'm just going to click on it one time so that it comes up on my right hand side. And here's my EQ, so I'm going to double click on that. And here's each one of those months of fabrics that we just downloaded. And we can start, it doesn't matter which way you start, but we'll start with January just so we can keep track of what we're doing. So find your January one. We're going to double click on it. And it's got an automatic installer already in it. So this is going to come up. Welcome to the install wizard. And we're just going to click next. And then it's completed. We're going to hit finish. Okay, now let's do February. So we'll double click on that one. And you're going to get the exact same thing. Next, finish. And let's say March. Next, and finish. And April. Next, finish. Pretty easy. I just want you to make note, when you're clicking on something, on a file, try not to click over here on the name, because sometimes you could double click enough that it wants you to rename the file. We're just going to click on this little folder section right here. Okay, so, and it says May. And finish. Now, if you're not sure if you did one or not, let's just double click January again and see what happens. So there's January and finished. So we'll see. Hopefully it only put it in there once, but we'll double check. Now we're done with this. So really what we should do is we should click on each one of these. So I guess we can do one at a time. Let me just do this way. So we'll click on the first one, and then either use the delete key on your keyboard or come right up here to delete, because you don't need it anymore. And it's always good to clean out your folders as you're going along so that you don't come back here and go, oh, geez, did I do these? Did I not do them? Because none of us remember that. So now our EQ folder is empty. So we can go ahead and close this folder. We're done with that. We can leave this open, so if you want to come back and do some more. But now we're going to go into EQ. So click on your EQ icon. And again, if that takes you a minute, pause the video. And I'm just going to go ahead and open an existing project, because it doesn't really matter. We don't need to make a new project just to do that. So I'm going to just hit open existing project, and I'm just going to pick this project I was working on. Again, doesn't matter which project you pick, you're not putting the fabrics into the project, you're putting them into the system. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure I'm on quilts here. Though it doesn't matter, but to make it easier, quilts, doesn't matter which one you have up, and just hit edit, because we just want to be able to get to up at the top, so you can see them up on the top left. I'm going to go to libraries and fabric library. Okay, now this always is open like this, and you see right to the left of the word colors there's a minus. Just click on that and that closes it up. And there's our 2021 fabric. We'll click on that. You see how a little plus sign will come up. So let's look at the first one. So it's nice that they're numbered by the month, and we don't have two of the January, so it just went right over the top of the other one. And now if we click on the words here, our fabrics come up. This is QT Fabrics Cocoa Chic by Reed Johnson. And if you look right here, there's 17 fabrics swatches to pick from. So let's look at number 2, Rose Whispers, Eleanor Burns. And this one has 27, very pretty. Now, if you want to look right where my cursor is, right below the swatches of fabrics, you have options of how you want to look at these. So if we do the first one on the left, that's the largest one. So you'll see less of them at a time, but they're bigger prints. And if you want to see more, you can scroll along here or come over to this right side where the little arrow is, and you can just click on that. Sometimes it's much easier. Okay, and then the next size is, I think I usually use this size because they're big enough without being too big. And then they go a little smaller, and then they go really tiny. So whichever one works for you. And if there's a fabric that you want to put in your sketchbook, you would just click on that fabric, and you see how there's a blue box around it. And then we'd go add it to the sketchbook. So let's take a couple of these. So I'm going to take that one. And you notice it disappears when we add it to the sketchbook. It's not gone forever. It's just left this window so that you don't pick the same one over and over and over. And let's pick this pink one and add it to the sketchbook. And let's take this purple one and add it to the sketchbook. Now let's go back and look at the rest of the swatches. So we're on number 3. So we're going to click on that little plus. And that's some pretty shades of blue, a little butterfly in there. And then Art Gallery. And they're more towards the solids. And the last one is Moda, Dance in Paris. And there's 35 of these, so I can click right along here and see, here's the end of them. So there's a nice range of colors there. If you wanted them all, so let's pick one that's, well, we can pick this one. So if we wanted them all, it doesn't matter where we pick. We can click on one. Let me click on one that you can see the blue box on. See how the blue box is around it? And on a PC, you're going to hit Control A. That means select all. I believe on the Mac it's Command A. So you hold the Control key down and then just touch the A. That selects them all. And then you can add them all to the sketchbook. And see, nobody's left because we add them to the sketchbook. But if I go back to another one and then come back to this one again, they're there. So they're not really gone when you add them to the sketchbook. So let's hit close. And then I'll show you where these are in the sketchbook. So if we come up to the top where the fabric tools are, we're going to click on fabrics. Now I happen to have a lot of fabrics in here for when I did these houses. But if you want to find the new fabrics, they're going to be at the furthest right side. So I'm coming down the bottom left side, and I'm going to just take the slider all the way down to the end. So there's that whole selection of fabrics that we picked when we selected them all. And then there's our purple one, our pink one, and then down here is the one with the flower. So whatever you add new will go to the very end of your palette. Okay? So let's go back one more time and let's download a few more. So in order to do that, we need to close EQ. So let's go ahead and close it. See, we're back where we were. So I'm going to do June through December of 2020. And if you want to do the whole year, you can go ahead, just pause the video and do more. So I'm going to just start with June and work my way to December. It's just easier for me to remember. So again, I'm on this, looks like a little keyboard to me in the windows. And I'm in EQ again. And now see, remember how we got rid of everything that was in there. So now it's empty, but it's still going to take us back to where we were last. So EQ is up at the top. If it's not, find your file and make sure it says EQ. Again, it's already named. So we'll do save. So July, save, August, save. So it goes pretty fast. September. So what happened to I didn't do August? Did I skip that one? Let's see. Did I skip August altogether? Oh, no, it's there. It was still downloading. I thought I said August. Okay, October. November. And because we're doing these faster, so you can look down at the bottom of my screen here, and you can see, oh, that one had a little circle around it. That means it wasn't done yet. So you don't want to, you just have to wait for everybody to finish. What month did I leave off with? November, December. So let's say we don't know what month we left off with. I'm going to do November again, and let's see what happens. You see the name? See where my cursor is? See the name, how it's got that number 1 in parentheses? Whenever you see that, that means that you've made the file again. So it's not going to, this part of it is not going to save over the other November. It's just going to make another November. So if you see that 1, that means you already have it. We can go ahead and cancel that. Okay? If you get these files along the bottom and it bothers you, they'll go away when you close your browser. But say you're doing a lot and you want to get rid of the ones that are here so you can keep track of who's next. Because see, if I put my cursor over it, it pops up and tells me that's July. So if I'm ready to do another group, I'm going to come way over here on the right and I'm going to click on that X. Now, does every version of Windows or Mac do that? I don't believe so, but if you have Windows 10, that's what it'll do. And that way, if you see that, that's how you can just get rid of them, because they're just a little, there's nothing really there. They're just telling you that's what you had downloaded. So now we're going to open EQ again. And again, I'm going to go right back into this open and existing project, and I'm going to go to my small houses, and I'm going to hit OK. And I'm on a quilt, and I'm going to hit Edit. And again, it doesn't matter if I hit a quilt or a block. I'm going to come up to this top library. Now, you have a library right here. Do you see where my cursor is? So because I'm in the blocks, this would be the fabric library. But if I was in the block work table, it would be different. Or if I was in, let's see, if I was in borders, I wouldn't have that same thing there. Or if I'm in my, if I'm in my block tools, you see where my cursor is, this library would open to my blocks. If I'm in my fabrics, this library would open to fabrics. To keep it simple, I just come up to the libraries at the very top left, and I can pick whichever library I want to go into. So we're going up. Well, I put the cart before the horse, didn't I? Well, we haven't installed them yet. And I can tell by, if I go in, Fabric Library, close this color one up, open up my 2020 that I did. I don't have the months in there. I have some of them, but I don't have all the ones that I downloaded. So you're going to go, oh, well, where are they? Well, we have to make sure we close EQ. Okay? Come down to the bottom of your taskbar and go into your Documents folder. Come over to your left and click on your download folder. There's our EQ. But remember, before you do this, make sure that your EQ is not open. So let's see, what are we starting with? June. So I'm going to do them in month order. So June, double click on it. Next, finish. July. Next, finish. August. Next, finish. September. Next, finish. October. Next, finish. November. And again, if you read this there, right there, it tells you November 2020. We don't have to pick the folder it goes into. This little wizard that Electric Quilt put on will put it right in the right spot. So if you fill up a year or you do just a couple months, when you go back, it's not going to make another folder. It'll put it in that same folder again. And then the last one is December. Okay, and now I'm going to delete all the ones that I just did. And I tend to, when you're a beginner, to delete things one at a time. Now I can go ahead and use my keyboard. You can't see me use my keyboard. I can go ahead and use my keyboard. But if you prefer, you can use the delete if you have the delete up there. It depends on which computer you're running with. But on every computer, if you click on this and hit the delete on your keyboard, it'll work, no matter which computer you're on. So our EQ folder is empty, and that's what we want. So now we can go ahead and close this. And now we'll open EQ. Open an existing project. And I'm going back into my small houses again. I'm on a quilt. I'm just going to do edit. I'm going to come up to the top here. Oh, while I'm here, if you want to see how to sew these little house blocks, I did a video on this little house block on, let me see, Thursday. It was a Thursday, 7 p.m. live, the beginning of May, end of April of 2021. I don't remember the date exactly, but it's in that range somewhere. Okay, so we're going to come back up to our libraries, Fabric Library. Again, we're going to change, just hit the minus to close that up. And let's see, I did 2020. And so now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So they're all there. Oh, let's look at this Hoffman's First Snowfall. Oh, it was a little slow coming in. There's 39 in this one. That's a lot. Very pretty colors. And remember, you don't have to have this exact fabric. You can just pick the colors to get a general idea of the colors that are going to be in your quilt. This is very nice to have this one little burgundy maroon kind of color because it'll bring some life to the rest of these fabrics, but those are very pretty. And I'm going to guess that by the time we see them, they're probably already sold in the stores because they would already have been out. So that's why I say don't fall in love with them that you want to get those exact fabrics. So you can try, and all you'd have to do is look up Hoffman. So it's right here, Hoffman, and it's called First Snowfall by Hoffman. I guess that means there's not a designer for that one. Let's go to this number 8. And oh, there's some pretty colors. So if you're working with a quilt and you've got oranges and whites and greens and so forth, then you can use these in your quilt to get an idea of how it's going to look. So let's go ahead and close this up. Okay, so if you want to go back and do some more downloading of fabrics, you're going to make sure you close your EQ, then you're back where you were, and then you can continue on downloading the fabrics. So I hope this helps you out. And let's see, I'm done in my EQ, so I can go back to my regular page. So I hope this helps you out in downloading some of the free fabrics if you have EQ. Again, you might not use them all, but you might use the colors that are in there for whatever project you're working on. And you can check back in EQ every once in a while and add more as more come in. I didn't log into EQ or anything, so and I know everyone that has EQ has an account, but I just wanted to remind you, I didn't log into my account to do that. I just went into the freebies and got it right from there. So I hope this helps you out, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.